And I'm also interested in this issue of self-compassion and hearing that we in the West rate so difficult in terms of self-compassion. So my question is, if you're talking about having a course and teaching people and then having to go back and start with self-compassion, is it possible if you don't even have self-compassion, can you begin to have compassion for others?
That's a very, very good question. I think, that's why we need to have a much more nuanced understanding of what is meant by the word compassion. I don't think we should have a very simplistic notion of what it is. It's a thing that you either have it or you don't have it. I think it's much more complicated. Although for the sake of, conversation, even in the Buddhist text, there are definitions of what the phenomena is. But I think we need to have an appreciation that it is a very complex phenomenon. So in some sense, if you don't have a good, healthy, secure self-to-self relation, it's going to be very difficult to have genuine compassion to others on a sustained basis. So I would qualify it in a sustained manner, because then you may get tired, you may get distressed, and you get burned out. Whereas if you have a more self-to-self healthy relationship and a genuine acceptance of who you are, and in some sense, being a friend to yourself and to yourself, once you have that, then in a sense you have a much richer reservoir, and you are able to really kind of be more mindful and aware of not confusing someone's suffering with your own distress, and being able to be there for the other person, when you feel compassion for someone. But that does not mean, if you have problem with self-compassion, that you are not going to be a compassionate person. Because I would argue that, comparatively, Western Judeo-Christian, particularly Christian societies, are on an aggregate level much more compassionate. And so I think I don't think it's correct to say that if you have a problem with self-compassion, that you cannot be compassionate. It's more complicated. But to be able to have a good reservoir of compassion to draw from, where you're not going to be burned out, where you are going to be truly there for the other when necessary, then having a self-compassion makes a huge difference.